Whoa, can everybody hear me now? Yes, they can. All right, welcome back to Theocracy, everybody. I'm your host, Theo Snodgrass. I am indefatigable. I am unstoppable. We're not going to let some microphone issues stop me from doing the show. This is the time I was going to stream anyway, so I'm just going to set aside this time for streaming, so that's what I'm going to do with it. It sucks because I had a good audience. Chat was cooking. Chat was cooking. I wanted to talk a little bit about that Superman example. It sucks because, man, I wish Strider was here. That's okay. Anyway, so we were talking about the institution of marriage being in trouble and how a lot of that has to do with like cultural messaging and stuff like that. That's downstream of cultural messaging, which is a huge fucking bummer. That I think what we've done is we've raised a couple generations in a row of people to be extremely cynical and not that psyched about the opportunities that life has to offer them. I think some of that is like expectation management. Like, I think there's a lot of people who are like, well, you know, if I can't be a billionaire, then why bother even trying? And some of that is because social media is just constantly shoving in your face that there's people doing better than you. I think that irritates people because no matter what you're doing, you can always open your phone and find somebody having a better time than you. And that didn't used to be the case. So people live in their life in a constant state of feeling like they're missing out on something that was like never going to be possible for them anyway. Like I'm not surrounded by a bunch of like Ukrainian models who are scared to look me in the eye, you know, on a yacht somewhere in Dubai. Why? Why don't I have Andrew Tate's life? You know, but it's like, no, it's like that was always impossible for you, you know? And so and this idea that like, if your life doesn't look exactly like how you want it to look, then it's your fault. It's like, you have a lot of control over how life goes, but you don't have a lot of control over the cards that you're dealt initially. Okay. Green-haired anti-liberal friend of the channel. Thank you. Runaway Vagabond, actual friend of the channel. Thank you. Just so you know, it wasn't my fault that the mic went out. It just went out. That's what happened. The only solution, my computer wasn't even reading anymore. The only solution was I had to restart the computer. So now we're streaming again. And we're going to see what happens. I lost the entire audience. So we'll see who comes back. Anyway, moral of the story, I think the actual thing we're dealing with here is we just have like a psychotically, emotionally immature culture, and they want to stay children forever. And I think they're worried that if they have children, that will get in the way of them continuing to be children. That's the thing, you know. And another side of this, by the way, is the Disney adult phenomenon, where this isn't really what I want to talk about today, but it's what we're talking about now. The Disney adult phenomenon, where Disneyland is now overrun with like people in their 30s with disposable income rather than a place that people go with kids. We saw that video the other day of that woman who was like, you know, because she was like meeting Winnie the Pooh, which is not Winnie the Pooh, by the way. She's not meeting the Winnie the Pooh from childhood. She's meeting a washed out theater kid in a costume. But she's like, right. That was great. So at Strider's here, so I'll make this point. So there's this scene where between Superman and Lex Luthor, where basically Luthor is just, you know, monologuing, kind of trying to appear menacing and not doing a great job. And Superman simply says, "I'll be watching you," and then he kind of like flies away. That's it, you know. And that's what I meant about this this issue of like controlled rage. And what was bothering me about the Gen Z Superman was that he was like, and he was like yelling and like crying and had a whole hard time controlling his emotions. And it's like, I don't know. I think we're in like an emotionally retarded culture where it's like that's what you have to do where that's what they think they have to do in order for audiences to understand that emotions are happening. Or maybe this is like a downstream of like women penetrating the writers' rooms and thinking that that's how men operate. But it's actually like critically important to like who Superman is, that he show restraint, especially emotional restraint, because he is so much stronger and so much more powerful than the people around him. If he loses control of his anger, he could do a lot of harm. It's so important that he should be able to show restraint. That is central to like who he is as a character. So for them to like disrupt that for Gen Z, I think that just kind of like shows where we are as a culture in terms of like emotional awareness. So yeah, it's not good. It's not good. And I think that's why we're in an environment where people are struggling to form relationships. People view the regular day-to-day emotional stuff that happens in relationships as a burden that they should be compensated for. It's like the relationship is the compensation for that. So if you don't feel like you're getting enough out of it, like that's fine. But it's okay to feel that way, but like it's just like not how adult relationships work. Anyway, anyway, and so it's like I wanted to dive into some more of this stuff and be like, oh, well, why? What are maybe some other reasons why people aren't getting married? And I got this very illustrative video. Let's see. This one. Okay. Boop. We're going to show this. There's a young lady. This young lady is talking about why her dating patterns and why she thinks she's having trouble getting men to commit to her. And she's made a startling discovery.
Yeah, I've made it very easy for them to do.
Hold on. She's made a startling discovery. So let's see what she has to say, shall we? Let's figure it out.
Guys, I'm being so fucking serious. The next man that enters my life, he is required to take me out on 3 dates before he gets a sleepover and before he gets my clothes off. Okay, I'm being...
I'm sorry, I'm not laughing. Go ahead, sweetheart. Tell us more. Go ahead.
So fucking for real right now, because here's the thing. As soon as
guys, she's so fucking for real right now. Go ahead, sweetheart. Tell us more.
You spend the night with a man, not even doing anything. They stop asking you out on dates. Then, once you sleep with them, they don't want anything to fucking do with you anymore. Which, like, whatever. I'm tired of men sexualizing me and objectifying me. Yeah, I've made it very easy for them to do that in the past, but, like,
Whoa! Guys, round of applause for a little bit of self-awareness and accountability right there. Round of applause. Round of applause. We know that's not easy for the girls. We know that's not easy for them. I love that she had a moment of self-awareness and accountability. You guys made me think, Theo, stop giving this woman way too much credit. She's still a whore. I agree, but she's reflecting on her choices and making different choices in the future. What more can we ask? Let ye who is without sin cast the first stone. I'm happy for her. Let's get to the end of the video and see what she says.
Done. I'm seriously fucking done. Like, hookup culture is fun for like 5 minutes. I miss connection. I miss connection. I miss having feelings.
Yeah, that's the part they don't tell you about, is that it will just annihilate your ability to like feel things. Well, they don't talk enough about that. It's really hard to feel things after a certain point. Like you were just like fucking dead inside. And it's hard. And it's hard to like hit that point like as a person and be like, oh, I'm probably not going to feel things for another person again. That's a bummer. And that's probably not coming back. Like that sucks. It sucks to hit that point. And you can, come back from that, but you really have to significantly rewire your brain in the way you think about sex and intimacy. I think one of the problems we have, by the way, and this is like kind of a side issue, we have trained an entire generation of people. We have trained an entire generation of young people, actually 2 generations in a row, to associate like romantic and sexual attraction with getting scammed. And here's the thing. So we've made this Pavlovian association with when I feel this way, I get scammed. And so you've trained 2 generations of people to like shut that part of themselves off. Because just from an evolutionary biological perspective, like getting scammed is like a really bad outcome for an organism. And so we have like, I mean, think about how you feel when you get scammed, when you realize you've been ripped off or scammed. You feel, I feel very angry and big ups, and it's not good. Your emotions go, it's a very strong emotional, because you're making a very strong association with that. So you fucking remember it so it doesn't happen again. And I think a lot of people, men and women, are now forming they have made a strong Pavlovian association between feeling of romantic and sexual attraction and actually feeling scammed and actually getting scammed. So that's like makes it, once you make that association, it's very hard to unmake it. The other thing too is just like the more people you fuck, the harder it is to care about any one of them individually. And that's true for men and women, by the way. It's true for men and women. This is why people who are both virgins, they get together young and stay together for a long time, why those people have the best marital satisfaction and the best sexual satisfaction. That's why. That's the best possible outcome, is like nailing it the first time. Hardly any of us experience that anymore, but there's a reason why that's the recommended loadout. Anyway, we're gonna end this video and then we're gonna go to the chat.
Yearned for. I miss yearning.
Yeah, yearning is done. I want to be clear about that. Like this generation, maybe Gen Alpha might do some yearning. Millennials are fucking done yearning, and Gen Z's not yearning for shit. You guys have to be yearnable, and the women are not yearnable. If I can see your butthole for the price of a cheeseburger, then I'm not yearning for you. I just yearned for you into my bed sheets. I got to wash them now. I just yearned for you into a sock that's under my bed getting crusty. That's the yearning I'm going to do. That was filthy, by the way. I'm sorry about that. That's not the kind of humor you come. That's not the kind of humor you come here for. You come here for wisdom. Sorry, folks. Sorry about that. Go ahead, sweetheart.
I can't just keep getting obsessed with a man for a week or two and then moving on to the next one. It's too.
Yes. See how fucking tired she is? This is what I'm talking about. Like, guys don't believe me when I say the current dating meta is like excruciating for women, more so than it is for men. And I know I always say that, but I promise it's actually true. Like for women, it's like they're floating on a raft in the ocean surrounded by salt water. And for men, it's like they're in a desert. Yeah. Anyway, so it's like, but both people are severely dehydrated is my point. Anyway, go ahead.
Exhausting, and it's honestly like mentally draining.
Yes, it is.
So seriously, the next guy that enters my life, he has to take
by life she means vagina. Go ahead.
Me on 3 dates, not sleepovers, not hang outside his apartment. He has to take me to in-person public activity dates, whether
it used to be, by the way, the standard used to be that a man who had never seen you naked would buy you a house. And now she's trying to get him to go outside with her 3 or more times. That's where the bar is. That's called pussy inflation, by the way. Hoflation is catchier, but this is the inflation of the value of pussy. And part of this is because like women function as a labor union. And it's important to them to like band together to keep the price of pussy high. And then whores are like, they're like scabbers. They're like crossing the picket line, driving down the value of pussy for everybody. And that's what's happened. Like the market's been flooded with too many whores. And now regular women have to act like whores just to compete. And then the number of like overall marriageable women goes way down. So that becomes a problem. And like, there's an argument to be made that like the optimal number of whores in a society is not 0. Like there hasn't ever been a society with 0. So it's like, it's very possible that like a certain number of whores is necessary to maintain equilibrium. That may be true about human civilization, but if the number of whores becomes too inflated and the number of marriageable women becomes too small, then not good, because then you're not having a future. And also a lot of women are learning that like the whore strategy is like actually like bad for securing a long-term mate, for securing a long-term prospect. And it's tough with her 3-date thing. Like, don't get me wrong. I think she's absolutely on the right track and I wish her the best of luck with this, but you are kind of pricing yourself out of the market. Like a lot of guys are going to encounter that and they'll just bail for a woman who fucks them faster. This sucks. So you're going to get rid of a lot of guys, but I don't know. I mean, I like with the meta, it's like if a lot of people were doing, like I said, it functions as a labor union. So there's so many women crossing the picket line and being whores right now. And like, look at their, like, I don't know how old she is, but like the fact that she's like just discovering this in adulthood instead of going out with that being her strategy originally is like means she's already behind. She's already a little bit cooked by hookup culture. You know, and I think we all are. All of us who participated in it are cooked by it to a degree. You know, and the more mileage you get, like there's such a thing as mileage on a hoe. Like the more mileage you get, and not all bodies are created equal either. There is such a thing as weighted bodies. Like not all bodies are the same. Like some bodies are worth 1, some bodies are worth like 100.
It's dinner.
You know, so it's like there's only a certain amount of bodies that a person can take and still be like palatable to be around other people. Like at some point you get so fucked up, there's no coming back, you know, and I don't think she's there, but like she's already been cooked a little bit by it. You can tell she's already frazzled and she is going to take that out on the next guy. The next guy is going to have to deal with this bullshit, you know? So like, that's the thing is like with hookup culture comes baggage. Like even, you know, and I would say just in my experience, just like observing it, it seems like the Gen Z women come with like more baggage than the millennial women. It seems like they got a little bit fucked up by their upbringing to me. But it went from like being too sheltered and then too sexual. It was like the combination of being way too sheltered and like way too horny. It fucks them up. Anyway, go ahead.
Whether it's going on a walk, something. I am tired of a man being like, let's go on one date, and then you can come over, and you can just come over every time you want to hang out. No.
You can say no! There she goes. She's actually saying it now. I was going to yell at her for not saying no, and then she did say no.
Oh.
Good.
What happened to romance?
You were a whore. That's what happened. Go ahead.
I want romance.
I know, but you were a whore. That's what happened. Go ahead.
Anyways, celibacy era is going great so far.
Rooting for you, sweetheart. I actually like her. I know I called her a whore a bunch of times, but I actually am rooting for her, believe it or not. I actually do want her to do well. I want her to do well. I do. I want that for her. I want her to be like happy and successful. I want her relationships to go well. But like you can't, like I know it's very tempting to like blame men for not doing things, but like men do what they're required to do. Like women set the market value for pussy. And so men do what they're required to do. So at some point, like women have to take accountability since they are the ones who are gatekeeping sex. You are deciding what a man has to do before he gets to sleep with you. You're deciding that. So if you're deciding to require less, then you're going to get less. That's just how it is. Now, that doesn't mean that the guys should be doing it. The guys are also responsible for being whores, but that's like, there's a relatively small percentage of men who are even capable of being whores. Most guys are getting no pussy whatsoever. The other thing she's not going to like is that the guys you can get to treat you well, that's your dating pool. It's not the guys you can get to sleep with you. You can get a guy to sleep with you, but he's not going to invest any effort in you. And that guy is not a guy you can actually date. That's just a guy you can fuck. So the guys that who can treat you well may not be as attractive, but that's your actual dating pool. So that's a bummer. But it's like, yeah, why is that woman having a hard time getting married? Well, apparently she's fucking dudes, you know. Rude, actual. And to think, I just shared your new stream link on Twix for you, punk ass. Oh, thank you. Thank you, sweetheart. Greenheart anti-liberal, friend of the channel. Because you boomered, Theo, I'll add this comment again. Happy International Men's Day. You are appreciated by women people like me, I promise. All right. Thank you, green-haired anti-liberal, friend of the channel. Oh, 3 whole dates? Wow, you're so sweet and innocent. Yeah, the fact that 3 dates has become a lot is crazy. Now, I will say, when I was on Tinder, I expected to smash on the first date. Like that was like something I could reliably expect. It's like usually if I didn't smash on the first date, it just wasn't going well. It just like wasn't going to happen. It was either kind of like going to happen on the first date or it wasn't. Sometimes it required a second date, usually not. At least in my experience with like being on the dating apps, it was usually like I was in there immediately or I wasn't getting in there at all. There was like no courtship phase. Let's see, 3 dates. That's it. I can endure 3 dates for some strange, and most men can too. Yeah, that's the other thing too. Is like, remember that the cost of entry used to be marriage. It used to be like a guy who had never seen you naked would buy you a house, and now they're having guys, splitting the bill with them at Jack in the Box. Guys who've nutted in their throat are now like splitting the bill with them at Jack in the Box. It used to be guys who had never seen them naked to buy them a house. That's an incredible loss in value. Think about how much houses cost now. So if the pussy and the housing market had remained tied together, but no, now it's so like cheap and easy and accessible. Like, don't get me wrong. And it's like, yes, the thing is, I actually do agree with her that while it's true that men can endure 3 dates for strange, most guys who are, like I said, I think my experience is pretty typical where if I'm not hitting the first date, you're probably more work than I want to do. And I'm going to find someone who will smash on the first date. So her method, as like insignificant as those 3 dates sound, I think that will have a meaningful filtering effect on the men that she's dealing with. But the men that will want to invest in her are going to be less attractive than the men she's already had sex with. That's a problem she doesn't know about yet. So she's going to find out. And that's a big issue, is that guys you can find. And we're starting to see women realize this, but they're not quite there yet. They don't know that the men they can fuck are not the same pool as the men they can marry. They don't know that yet, which is, God, really hard. Is there a ceiling cat in the room, Theo? Why you keep looking up? Oh, because that's where my other screen is. That's our other screen. Mr. Scott, happy to be here. Howdy, fellow theologians. Oh, I like that. That's good. Yeah. In my opinion, I hope she doesn't tell the guy about her date rule. It's just going to give him a goal. Yeah, keep that shit to yourself, by the way. Keep that shit to yourself. And do not give someone the keys to your vagina, or give a roadmap to your vagina, because men will follow it. They're very goal oriented. If you give them a task, if you give them objectives, give them quests, they will figure it out. And remember, the goal is to secure investment and commitment. It's not necessarily, that's another thing too, is like we've tied investment and commitment to money and made it so transactional. And actually, investment and commitment with men looks a lot more like focused effort, time, energy, and attention than money. Like for guys, especially guys with a lot of money, it's just very trivial for them to spend a lot of money on a woman so that they can fuck them. It becomes very trivial. It's very gross when you encounter women, because I've encountered women like that before who are just like very explicit that they expect a certain amount of like materialistic transaction to take place between me and them in order for me to crack. And I'm like, nah, I'm good. Because like, again, like I will always go to the woman that requires less. Because if you have options, you go with the woman who requires the least. Sorry, just how it is. When the market's fucked up. But that's the thing, is like by having some standards, just some relatively low standards, you will find the men who are willing to invest in you. You may not be happy with them as opposed to some of the other men that were available that you could just smash. You actually got matches on Tinder? Yeah. So when I was on dating apps, I would get like, last time I had Tinder, I got like 8 matches in the first couple days, and then I tanked it. And I was being really shallow about age too. I was like 31, and I set my age to like 18 to 26. Like I was being super shallow, just like being a scumbag just to see what I could pull. And and girls were messaging me first, which was nice because that makes it way easier. And it makes it way easier if they message you first too. But that's what I'm saying, is like my experience on Tinder is like very different than like a lot of my male friends' experiences on Tinder. Like getting matches and like having people actually message with me. Like every time I would show my dating apps to my like friends, they would get mad at me. That's what I'm saying, is like at that time, I've probably aged out by now. I mean, maybe I haven't aged out. And height filters are going to like change it for me, obviously. So I like height filters are going to change my odds, but like at the time I was using it, it didn't have Tinder didn't have a height filter. Hinge had a height filter, and that fucked me up a little bit. Like that significantly diluted the quality of women that I could pull on there, I think. But like Bumble I did well. Tinder I did well. Hinge I definitely did well. Still, it's like it wasn't a problem of like getting matches and getting the matches too fast, especially like during COVID. It was like fucking Uber Eats. They just come to your house. It was so easy. It was like I was getting fast food, weed, and pussy delivered to my house constantly during quarantine. That's not a good way to live. It's not a good way to live. It is a great way to become a bad person to live that way. But yeah, I did well, but like it's just so like empty and like meaningless and like disgusting after a while. And it just becomes it's like ordering Amazon packages. It just becomes like disgusting and vile and you start to hate yourself. It's like not good to live that way. It's like not good. It's not good. No. It's gross. And so I wouldn't recommend it, by the way. But yeah, that's like, I think actually, and like, so, but because I had so many matches on deck, like if a woman like said no to me or was like uppity or wanted to have like an emotional conversation or like wanted to like, actually, I don't like, or you should, or I don't like this poster you have on the wall, or just like any fucking woman bullshit. I would just, or it's like, what are you thinking? It's just anything that pissed me off. I'd be like, I would just cut her from the team and go to the next one because I had options, you know? And that's what I'm saying is like, you could filter out the guys who aren't focused just on you by doing that, by saying no, by having standards, having expectations, you know, because guys who aren't that interested in you will just bail on you immediately. Now, what they don't tell people is that you're gonna get rejected a bunch. Like I had this conversation, you know, with a woman that I, you know, kind of seen off and on, whatever. I had this conversation with her. I was like, you should have standards. And she was like, okay, how about if I have some standards right now? And I was like, don't price yourself out of the market. I'll just drop you off at home. And then she was really upset. That's the thing is you are going to get rejected a lot more if you have standards, but that will take you closer to actually like meeting the right person. I hate the 3-date or the 5-date rule concept. Honestly, only goal should technically be marriage, though I can't really say that personally for reasons I shall not elaborate on. Fair enough. I understand what you're getting at. Like having a set number of dates is like, I mean, it's again, dating is a new concept. So dating the way that we do it now is as old as like the automobile and the birth control pill. Like before that, there was like courting and like families were a lot more involved in like mate choice and stuff like that. And the goal was marriage. There was this idea of being like endlessly single and just like sticking your dick wherever, you know? Remember, guys, D is a privilege. Don't give it. Well, yeah, it helps. Remember, guys, D is a privilege. Don't give it to anyone who asks. Yeah, I guess it matters. It also helps if your dick is good too. Like if you have confidence that you're like, you know, that you're giving out like good dick, then yeah, that becomes very easy because then it's like, oh, okay, well, I know what I'm going to do to you and I know you don't deserve it because you have a bad personality. Then it becomes like way easier. And then you just like try to find, you could I'm like a fuckboy Robin Hood. I'm like, you know, out here trying to find, you know, out here trying to give dick to women who deserve it. Good dick to women who deserve it. That's funny. That's a funny idea, fuckboy Robin Hood. I might have to workshop that. I think there's something there. We'll see. You have dick privilege, huh? Yeah. No, well, that's the thing. It's like if you're confident in what you're delivering, then you know. But it's like I don't know. It's like the thing. It's like a lot of men are just like way too desperate. They don't understand that. Like, here's the thing: if you knew how little the men in front of you in line were doing, you would be so much less desperate. Because, like, listen, she's requiring that you buy her gifts and go on dates and do all this stuff. She let the guy ahead of you crack for free. That's just how it is. It's like, oh, well, when men stop yourselves from going to the easy options, she is trying to do better. So should you. Technically speaking, I make fun of it, but at least she wants to change. Yes, no, this is exactly right. Men have to stop going for what's easy and actually date women with standards. As much of a pain in the ass as that is. And I say this, like, it's easy to just go after whores because it's just easier. It's just easier, but it doesn't get you what you actually want. So you're not actually after sex, you're after like intimacy, and you want to build a relationship with a woman. That's what you actually desire in your heart. The sex is a vehicle to that. So you don't actually like want sex as much as you think you do. What you really want is like intimacy and like to build a legacy and build a family with a woman. That's what you actually want. But you get so like caught up in the horny that you can't get to those like higher vibrational states to realize what you actually want. I watch with bots. That's about it. Yeah, dating apps are a stupid idea. This is a stupid, like they work for me, but they probably will not work for you. For about 80% of men, they don't work at all. It's just a waste of time for most men. And in person, charisma is still king. So you can be funny, you can be interesting, you can be charming. You can't be taller. And you can't look better on a date. You can't get better at taking pictures. You can get better at taking pictures, but for the most part, getting really good at taking pictures of yourself is a waste of time for the most part. Like just be funny and interesting in person. Yeah. Concept of height filter for me is so freaking irritating. Even a fatty filter is irritating, but at least it shows someone's character because you can change the situation. Height, you can't. Yeah, and it's just like making the apps more appealing to get more women on there because there's more men on there than there are women, and they're always trying to bring in women. So again, the dating apps, Instagram, and like the whole social media thing have tilted the balance of power so heavily in favor of women that they basically men just have like zero, especially young men have zero leverage unless you're like one of the guys who's like, you're tall, successful, good looking, whatever, one of the guys who do well on dating apps, then you have an asymmetrical amount of leverage over women. That's why it's so much better to be in that position than it is to be in the fucking normie mob position. But then you have another problem where it's like, you have a lot of access to loose women, but you have very, very little access to women of good character because there just aren't that many, which is a huge bummer. It's just like a relatively low number of women with good character, which just sucks, you know? So the best way to do that, I think, is to be a man of good character. You kind of attract what you put out. But that means you can't be like Green Hair Anti-Liberal was saying, you can't be like smashing the whores just because it's easy. Because like, look, if it's just like you smashing whores, then, you know. And it sucks because it takes a long time to become attractive as a guy. What I always tell young guys is your life will get better when you're 28. Assuming you're taking care of yourself, your life will get better when you're 28. Just get in shape and just get your shit together and start doing something you want to do. Start building something you want. Start building skills or building just build something, just whatever makes you happy. Just like build something that you're like really psyched about and just keep trying and failing to do shit and just like become better and stronger and smarter and read a bunch of books and get in shape. And then your life will be stupendous from like 28 on. It just every year will get better if you do that. And you'll get more and more and more access to women as you get older, which is paradoxical. If you take care of yourself and if you do stuff, you'll get like more and more access to better and better women as you get up. But yeah, it becomes about character. And so you got to kind of get out in the trenches and like do hard things and try to build things that matter to you and all this stuff. And yeah, it's going to be, and that will increase your options. But like, if you're like 22, you're like, really, I have to wait 6 years for that? And it's like, yes, you have to just like spend the next 6 years in excruciating work and hating life. And it's like, this is what I mean about like dating now is like Dark Souls versus like dating for like Gen X and above is like Skyrim. It was just like so much easier. They got so much more for so much less. And there was so much less danger. And it was like a lot more like fun. It's actually fun. One of the problems is like, I think a lot of like, this is okay. There's a couple of things go. Oh my God. You have a bunch of videos I want to get to now. Hold on. Where's that one? This one. Okay. That's the one I want. Okay. So this is what I'm talking about when going on dates now is just like not the same as it was for Gen X. Give me 1 second. I'm going to go through the chat again. Fuckboy Robin Hood. Does that mean women can be dick poor? Yes. I'm taking the dick and I'm giving it to the women who deserve it because they're dick poor. Yes, this is exactly right. Hold on. We're going to. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Okay. Let me pull this up. Boop. All right. This woman. See, this woman looks like she's a lot of fun. Let's talk about her. She's about to go on a date, if I recall.
Someone just asked me out. We were in the
Someone just asked her out. Okay. Well, let's see how she responds to that. Go ahead.
queue for the toilets, and we had a bit of banter. And he said, "Can I take you for a drink sometime?" And I thought, let me just ask this simple question. I said, "Are you a feminist? And have you spent time thinking about your privileges as a male? Do you understand the nuances of the trans debate? And do you always sit on the right side of it? And understand how we've been pitted against each other by the powers that be to
Imagine asking out a woman and she monologues at you like this. Go ahead.
ultimately make us weaker? Do you have a good connection to your inner monologue? Or do you spend time avoiding thoughts with vices like games consoles or addiction to alcohol and drugs? And are you angry with the state of the world right now? And if so, what are you doing about it?" And he said, "That sounds a bit intense for me." So then I said, "Cool, we definitely shouldn't go for a drink together. Because I'm not wasting my time with someone who doesn't align with my values, right?" He was hot though. Shame.
There you go. I don't care what this woman says now, but do you see what I'm saying? Like, okay, and this is what I mean when I say the average woman now is feminist in a way that only the most cantankerous, obnoxious woman would have been in the 80s. This is what I'm saying. Like, a lot of women are just, they have a set of beliefs that is basically incompatible with stable male partnership. And they think that it's the man's job to change his beliefs to match her. And a bunch of her beliefs rest on presuppositions about reality that fundamentally are not true. Example, it is fundamentally not true that men and women are interchangeable, that men and women are identical. Because it's like, it's weird because at the one point they'll say all people are identical and they'll say diversity is our strength, but they don't mean diversity of thought. They mean they want the same talking points to be parroted by a different color mouthpiece. That's crazy. It's crazy. It's like a bunch of like contradictions and beliefs about reality that fundamentally are not true, that will create nothing but cognitive dissonance for you if you proceed in the world with beliefs that contradict reality. Anytime you put yourself in competition with reality, reality is going to win every single time. Every single time reality wins. So imagine this woman gets asked out by a hot guy and she immediately hits him with that. Bear in mind, let's say those are her values. She could have hit him with that on the third date or the second date or even the first date. But she's coming out there right out of the gate confrontational. You know? Confrontational. That's like, and there's a lot of women that lead with high confrontation. And look, to their credit, I think that is to some degree a defense mechanism. To some degree, it's like, oh, well, life, hasn't been very nice to me. Men haven't been very nice to me. So this is how I feel. And I'm just going to put that out there. I'm going to be aggressive and rude. But the fact is, like, that is preventing her from forming meaningful social connections. Even if she's right, she is completely boxing herself out from forming meaningful social connections. Even if her beliefs, let's say her beliefs are more true than mine, let's say. She's boxing herself out from having meaningful social connections. So her beliefs are counterproductive to living a happy and fulfilling life. And in and of itself, that is evidence of their falsity. It's like, and by the way, hands up if you've met a woman like this. If you're 30 plus, we've all met them at this point. We all met that woman where you talk to her and she's beautiful. And then she opens her fucking mouth and it's like, God, that's a damn shame. God, that's a damn shame. We've all had it. We've all had it, man. That's why I always say people, like, I still do cold approach game, but I don't do it with the intention of just like getting laid anymore. I only approach people with genuine curiosity because now, at this point, because I'm not just trying to get laid, women don't have anything that I want. A woman has to prove to me that she has something that I want. Because I'm looking for a woman who shares values with me, that I can have children with, that I can build a legacy with. This is getting into a topic for a later show, but I actually think the cure for all of the instability and the horribleness and the division that we're experiencing right now is generational families. Multi-generational families, I think, is the cure for everything. And having a family legacy and having a family story and having a family crest and having a concept of what the ancestors did and why it matters to you. Like, I think that actually will cause people to care about the future. Right now, we live in a society that hates its ancestors and is disconnected from its family. It's cutting off parents. That's the societal norm, not building multi-generational families. And I think that's actually the key. In order to do that, you got to be able to fucking tolerate being in the same room with a person of the opposite sex. You got to start there. Sorry. It's not negotiable. Yeah. And it's like, let's see. Yeah. Bro dodged a bullet. Bingo. Woman, the concept of inner monologue is to keep it inner, especially when you're asked out. Oh, man. You give no love to fatties. If this is a direction, is this in reference to me, that is completely false. I love plus size women here. Her and even some dudes' problems is that she could have given a chance with an open mind, and the folks don't need to agree on everything, and they could still work out together. That's exactly right. Because there's also a really good chance that you might learn something. You might be wrong about some stuff. And that's actually one of the functions of dating someone is you find out where some of your blind spots are. Like, they probably know things you don't, especially if you're dating someone with reasonable intelligence, which a lot of men refuse to do, by the way. I feel bad for intelligent women. Shout out green-haired anti-liberal. Feel bad for intelligent women. They struggle with pairing because intelligent women don't want to fuck dumb dudes, and intelligent dudes sometimes do enjoy fucking dumb women. I'm sorry. It's not fair. It's not fair. But fucking dumb women usually gets the job done for me, and no fucking dumb dudes is not gonna get the job done for you. Sorry. It's not. No, I don't fuck dumb women anymore, to be honest. To be fair. I don't fuck dumb women anymore. I'm retired from that. But just, yeah. But but it is hard for but I think for reasonably intelligent, if you're dating someone who's reasonably intelligent, there's a really good chance they know things you don't know, and you might learn things, and you might find out from discussions with them that your presuppositions about the world are incorrect in some way. And that's actually part of the point of having a relationship. That's one of the dangerous things about being a single person is that there's no one watching your blind spots. And you need people watching your blind spots. You need people kind of in your business. I know it feels bad to have people in your business judging you, but that's actually important because how you are when you're alone is a total fucking weirdo. And you need somebody to see you being a total fucking weirdo and being like, hey, no. Like, that's important, actually. And it's important for men and women, actually. You need a person to bounce your shit off of so that you don't become too unpalatable to the civilized world. And you need to find out the stuff you're wrong about. And women are great at that. They can't help it. They have to, anytime anything is happening. Same with the mansplaining phenomenon, right? Men actually reflexively, I don't have time to get into this on this show, but this will have to be a later show. But like the mansplaining phenomenon is like men actually reflexively have to share information. That's how they bond. And they're not, it's like, women would only speak in that way to children. But men speak that way to each other. So that's like, oh, cool. Like if it's like, this goes into like male socialization and male problem solving. So women hear it and think they're being condescended to. Actually, he really values your company, and that's why he's sharing information with you. Because now we both know this piece of information. So when we work in a team together, we can both use it. Like, I'm trying to make you a better teammate. And she thinks that you're talking to her like she's a child. It's like, no, I'm trying to make you a better teammate. Because that's how it's how we bond with each other. Sharing information. So the whole mansplaining thing is just like a misunderstanding of male socialization. Like, a lot of these things are just like women not understanding how men are. And that's a big thing. And it just fucking, yeah, it's not good. Yeah. I guarantee this cow never faced hardship, never had to do a hard day of work in her life. Yeah, probably not. Because that's honestly, feminist beliefs they can only survive in a vacuum. Like if you actually go into the real, you interact with the real difficult physical world, you will realize that men and women are very different. And that you kind of need a society where men and women are treated differently in certain aspects. It's just how it is. It doesn't mean women don't have human dignity. Men and women have equal human dignity, but they cannot be held to the same standards. You can't actually. You have. It's actually important that we have different standards. It's actually important that we treat them differently because of the differences. And that's actually important. There's good reasons why we do it that way. And it's better for everyone to honor the differences and to treat men and women differently in certain contexts. Like it's way more important that we keep men out of the women's locker room than it is that we keep women out of the men's locker room. And everybody knows why. It's way more important. This is why people are so turned up about trans women in women's sports, and nobody gives a shit about trans men trying to do men's sports. Why that's not really a problem. Everybody knows why. And the trans people are like, oh, well, you just hate trans. This is trans misogyny. It's like, no, we're trying to keep the men from creeping on and beating up the women. That's what it is. Because that's a problem that society cares about in a way that's like, we're not as concerned about the reverse problem. And there's good reasons for that. That's not sexism because we're treating people differently. Like sometimes differently is the appropriate way to treat the sexes because there's two. It's a double standard. Yeah, because there's two things. This is not hard, but again, and a woman like this, again, that woman would have been excruciating. And here's the thing. What's really sad, that's a defense mechanism. She desperately craves intimacy and she fears it. She fears intimacy with a man. She fears emotional interdependence on a man. She fears letting a man in because that will cause her to be let down. And it's fear that's driving her to be single. Huge problem that's going on right now. And it's all of the internet bullshit that's driving the fear. Because it's just ratcheting up the fear and the anger and the fear and the anger because that's what drives the engagement. From Jump, trying to get all that values info is freaking nonsensical. There's so much nuance and values when you're having a discussion about them that cannot be black and white mostly. Yeah, it's actually, if you have a real discussion with people, you might actually realize you don't know everything and it might change your mind. I've had this experience. Yeah, about 3 years ago, I had my first experience with an intelligent woman, and that was like 4 years ago now. I had my first experience with an intelligent woman. It completely fucked me. Because now I can't do bimbos anymore. So I only talk to intelligent women. And every time I talk to an intelligent woman for an extended period of time, every time I allow an intelligent woman to form some kind of closeness and form some kind of relationship with me, every single time I always find out about my own blind spots and I always learn stuff. So that's a pro tip for the men. If you feel like your life isn't going well, try dating a woman that you think is reasonably intelligent. Don't date bimbos. Just date women that you respect and see what happens. Watch how that by itself changes your life. Just be like, do I see the human dignity in this person? Am I genuinely curious? Do I learn from her? You know? And also, does she learn from you? Does she say things like, oh, wow, that's interesting. I didn't know that. Or can you tell me more about that? Or like, wow. And she's not like a cunt about it. That's actually big too. Because you want somebody who can contribute, but also somebody who's capable of listening. And a big problem. This is another thing I do not have time to talk about in detail on the show, but we're going to have to cover in a future episode is one of the reasons women don't respect men is because in the school system, men and women are judged by the same standards, and they are all standards that favor women, that women are just going to be better at. And those are the metrics we use to determine who has social rank in society. We have men and women compete alongside each other. One of the reasons, and so like, because basically in school, it's whoever can sit down, shut the fuck up, follow directions, memorize information, and be the goodest good boy or girl is the best, right? And then in the corporate world, it's kind of the same deal. It's like covertly cutthroat, but like men prefer overt competition, not covert. And when men compete with women, we can't use the same techniques we would compete with men. When two men go at it, it can be quite hostile. And if a man does that to a woman, he looks like a bully. But then all the covert tactics that women would use on each other, they could use on a man, and they're twice as effective. So having everything be super covert and subtle and sneaky and underhanded tremendously benefits women. Also, the way women are aggressive with like shaming, rallying, reputation destruction, that stuff all scales over social media. And the way that men are aggressive does not scale over social media. And then like women's dating strategy scales tremendously over social media in a way that men's does not, unless they're like super high status and wealthy, right? So anyway, there's a lot of ways where society has been, and then the government, of course, overtly putting a thumb on the scale and like creating all these, using quotas to create more opportunities for women, or companies will hire women so that they don't appear discriminatory to avoid a potential lawsuit. All these ways that the government has like kind of covertly put a thumb on the scale that have kind of benefited women while at the same time telling them that they're like super oppressed, has made them like grossly like dissatisfied and like fed up and like, why can't I find any men who make more than me? It's like they wanted all the degrees and all the cool jobs and all the salary, and also to marry men who make more money than them, even though now the men don't have jobs. It's like, well, shit. Sucks to suck, I guess. I can't have everything. And they just don't understand that they like can't have things. So we've just like created the circumstance where women are just like soaking constantly in just lies about reality. It has made them fucking miserable. And it's made them like utterly miserable. And they just like hate every second. And they hate interacting with reality because reality does not align with their beliefs about reality. That's a really hard position to be in. Like, you don't understand like how this is one of the reasons I cape for women so much, is because they're being lied to all the time by everyone they talk to. Like it's like living in the Twilight Zone. Think about that. If everyone you spoke to lied to you about reality, it'd be like the Truman Show. Like everyone online is lying to you about reality. Everyone you talk to in person is lying to you about reality. And they're just like, then also like you're going everywhere and everyone's super nice to you because you're hot. So you think you deserve it. Cause of course you do. Cause that's all you understand. You don't understand that everybody is like smoothing things out for you. This is why hot girls go on the internet and complain so much, because they assume that their problems should be everybody else's problems too. Cause that's how it is in the real life for them. When they go outside and they're like, I'm upset. Everybody's like, oh, honey, what's wrong? It's not like being a man. Being a man, no one gives a shit. So you'll go out and be upset and people will be like, shut up. Jesus Christ, suck it up, you asshole. God, no one wants to see that. Anyway, what else we got? You should try to invite the lady new to the 3 dates rule on the show. Yeah, I should actually. Let's see if I can find the original video for that. I agree. Generational families are the way. Yeah. Just Jason, friend of the channel, knows a little something about generational families. That is the key. You learn a lot. That's the other thing too with generational families. Men and women will learn. You learn a lot about men and women from having brothers, sisters, cousins of different ages at different life stages. So you see how children act. You see the difference between the boys and girls. You see the adults. See the middle-aged people, see the old people, you see that differences persist in life stages. Different people in your family will make different choices. Some people invariably will choose alcohol and partying. Some people will choose marriage. You can see how outcomes vary. You get a lot, if you have a bunch of people that you know very close to you, you can see a bunch of different people make different life choices and get a lot better sense of like what's available to you and what's right for you. And also how different sorts of people and different personalities interact. And then you can take that into the world, you have more experience. Like that's a lot of people are just, getting raised having no fucking idea how opposite sex people are. And they can't do anything without that. Anyway, Theo just loves women. This is true. He's a white knight. Remember, Mr. Scott. Although as a former fatty, as a kid, though, LOL, it's okay to love them if they want to better themselves. Yes, I actually am pro. I actually do have a lot of love for the plus size girls. Shout out to the plus size girl. I like girls that go squish when you hug them a little bit. Like a girl who looks like she can move a queen size mattress up a windy flight of stairs. You know what I'm talking about? Just like that functional strength, like a little bit of girth. Girth is good. By the way, you cannot. The part of the problem with our society today is women cannot take a compliment. I have found you cannot call a woman girthy. It just does not matter how you mean it. You cannot do that. You're not giving the fatties FaceTime on the stream. First fatty clip shows up and you're like, skip. Yeah, no, that's true. Oh, that's true. I don't show a lot of fatties on the show. That's yeah. This is a good point. Even I understand men better than most women, and I can't fully understand y'all. It's just not completely possible. Right. And that actually, like, the thing is, like, living next to people is actually living alongside someone of the opposite sex actually forces you to become a better person. Like, okay, like, I have one pillow. I'm never going to get a second pillow. I have a pillow and a body pillow. Never getting a third pillow. Never going to happen. If a woman lived here, I would probably have a bigger, more comfortable bed and a lot more pillows. I would probably have toilet paper at the house. Right now, I don't have it. Don't need it. Would I be a better? But this is what I'm saying. Is like my living space would smell better, look better, and be more comfortable if a woman lived here. Oh, moving a queen-size mattress upstairs alone is that difficult. Okay, listen, I have moved a lot. Most women are useless. Most women are useless. I know that you're like half feral, so you can do things. I like useful women, though. Shout out, friend of the show, useful women. Shout out to useful women. Here's another. Okay, I got a couple more videos I got to get through. I may have to do this. Some of these are going to have to go on a different show. But let's do. This is one. This is a really important piece of information that people do not talk about. This is going to be about psychiatric medication. I would also add hormonal birth control in there as far as things that are really having an effect that we don't talk about enough. Go ahead.
Quarter of American women are taking
Nearly a quarter of American women, she said, are taking psychiatric medication.
Women's self-reported happiness has been steadily declining since the 1970s.
By the way, that's when feminism hit. So, I mean, the feminism predates that, but like the kind of feminism we're dealing with now, equality in the workplace, policing speech, men and women are the same. All those men should contribute equally to housework, emotional labor, mental load, unpaid labor, all the ideas that we're dealing with now that are driving men and women apart, they took seed in the 70s. So for context, go ahead.
But instead of finding the root causes of women's unhappiness or offering real solutions like faith, community, and family, female influencers are selling out their followers to big pharma. Sponsored posts from celebrities and influencers are glamorizing pill popping under the guise of destigmatizing mental health. Zoloft baddies, self-love is self-care.
That's fucking diabolical. Go ahead.
Shouldn't be stigma around taking medication if that's what you need to feel better. Hashtag Hers Partner. Hers is a telehealth company that advertises depression meds from your sofa.
Yeah, by the way, Hims does hair loss, erectile dysfunction drugs, and fucking anxiety drugs. And it's mostly like millennials and Gen Z that they're targeting, which is crazy because those are not problems you're supposed to have in your 20s. Right? And for women, it's all about the fucking antidepressants. And I think they do birth control as well, which is crazy. But it's like, fuck, man, it's dystopian, dude. It's dystopian. Like how much we are relying on these pills for mood correction.
Pills sent straight to your door without ever speaking face-to-face with a doctor. They're selling mind-altering SSRIs and hormonal birth control pills that can wreak havoc on your mind and body. Right next to skin creams and gummy vitamins for shiny hair, as if it's the same as any other vitamin or supplement in your wellness routine.
I'm just picking up Zola. Sad girl responsibilities.
Girl, take your crazy pills. Your therapist is your best friend. Live, laugh, love, Lexapro.
Yeah, I'm a pick-me girl. I'm gonna pick me up some antidepressants.
The women's mental health crisis is being blasted all over social media, and yet we're supposed to believe that women are happier, freer than ever, and thriving. Don't think too hard about why you're feeling anxious and depressed. Just take these pills and shut up. It sounds pretty archaic when you say it out loud. At this point, there is more stigma around living an unmedicated existence than taking a paycheck to sell psych meds on Instagram. That's actually insane. Nearly a
Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude, we do not talk enough about the women's mental health crisis, guys. We talk about that. Like, by the way, I talk all the time about the male loneliness epidemic being a made up thing, and we're actually in a connection crisis that affects both men and women at basically the same rates. So this idea that men are uniquely lonely is completely made It's not that men deal with loneliness differently, and men are also lonely in a very different way, but women are also fucking we have a connection crisis that affects everyone, actually. And feminists making it about men means that they can dunk on men by saying the male loneliness crisis is self-inflicted. Hey, I am not. You could have said Marine, jerk, half feral is just plain mean. Gal, respectfully, I have met you. So this whole I am not feral is not going to work on me because I have met you. And I don't mean feral as an insult. I prefer women feral, to be honest. I like them wild. I do. So it's not an insult. It's all of you should endeavor to be more like green-haired anti-liberal, even some of you men. This is actually a good point. My main problem is Gen Z have a serious degree of indifference towards their family and lineage. That or their parents have issues with the grandparents, making it hard to connect with the family history. Yeah, a lot of like fucking parental alienation annihilates the concept of like multi-generational families, lineage, having a family crest, having a shared family narrative. This is one thing, okay, that we lost when we got rid of aristocracy. Respectfully. And I'm very pro aristocracy on this channel, and I know that's not popular. And I know I probably wouldn't be in the aristocracy if there was going to be one. And I'm kind of pro, just making like the merchant class be the aristocracy instead of having like noble families that actually had power and land and influence the way they did in England. Like the advantage, obviously there's inequality that comes with that. And it's like, how dare this guy turn up his nose and say he's better than me? But also there's family lineage. There's my father's father did this. There's family history. There's honoring the ancestors. And it puts pressure on you in the present to not be a fuck up and to keep it. And obviously there were people who fucked up. Like one of the reasons the French Revolution happened was because the French monarchs did not honor their responsibilities. They got obsessed with like pleasure and hedonism, and they were basically retarded. And they did not honor their responsibilities of guys that literally shared their names. Okay. Their namesakes, who were these great kings. And then they were just retards. And so people were like, you're being retarded and you're wasting all our money on opulence and hedonism, and we can't eat. So fuck you. We're going to cut your head off in the street. Don't really blame them for that. So there's problems with it. But one of the things you get with monarchy is like my father's father did this. And even if you're like a peasant, you think of it, your father's father, and you multi-generational, especially if you're meeting the people. And then if you're meeting the grandparents can tell you, they keep the family history alive. And I like the idea of like a family crest and a family narrative and a family motto and all this stuff that we see in like, Game of Thrones or whatever. But like that kind of stuff, allows for a narrative to kind of come together over time that people can take pride in and use for motivation. And right now we have the opposite. Right now we have a society where people hate their ancestors. By the way, that is projection. This is so important. When you hear some like white woman with blue hair talking about how Thomas Jefferson literally owned slaves and and they're talking about how they're retarded too. The founding fathers didn't have education. What they mean is that the founding fathers didn't have no gender theory, right? But they did know Greek and Latin, and they read Plutarch, and they read Plato, and they read Socrates. They read classical Greek philosophy. They studied theology. They studied religion. They studied mathematics. They studied the law, the Anglo-American common law tradition, which at the time wasn't American. It was just the English common law tradition. So they studied really hard subjects, and they did not have computers or AI to help them study. They just read it out of books. And when it got dark, you had to read by candlelight. If you didn't have candles, you were SOL because they didn't have electric lights. So they worked really, 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 really hard. And everything was handwritten. They couldn't type anything. They didn't have phones. They couldn't just Google shit. They had to just like go find a source that had information, and they had to rely on that information being good. And there were a bunch of fucking morons just spewing bullshit, and they had to be able to differentiate. Even smart guys had bad ideas back then. Like Isaac Newton was obsessed with the menstrual blood of prostitutes because he assumed it had magical properties because he believed in alchemy. This is like the guy who invented integral differential calculus. He basically invented like a lot of the rules of physics that we later extrapolated on that gave us modern physics eventually. Like this was the guy who laid the foundation for that. And he had a bunch of dumb, retarded ideas because people just didn't know things. but they were like, they had education was way more difficult. And these guys were multidisciplinary masters. Like Thomas Jefferson was a master of so many different things, spoke multiple different languages. He was the ambassador to France because he was so good at speaking French. And also his appreciation for like French culture and stuff. And he was also like, you know, like he designed Monticello, which is crazy. It is crazy. Like these were multidisciplinary masters who were very, and some white girl with a college degree will come on here and say the founding fathers were educated only as much as the 12-year-old today. They didn't know anything, so we shouldn't listen to the Constitution. It's like, you dumb slut. You just don't know what you're asking for. And so when you have a society that has contempt for its ancestors, that's pure projection. A society that hates its ancestors hates itself. That's what we're talking about here. A society that hates its ancestors just hates itself. That's it. It's not any more complicated than that. It's not about hatred of the ancestors. It's about guilt and shame and self-hatred. That's what it is. So yeah, that's kind of what's going on with that. But anyway, like the mental health issue of like the amount of people who are like actually mentally unstable. And I know people used to pop Quaaludes and shit in the 50s. I'm not disputing that, but like, I don't know. I think this is downstream of like industrialized society. The more industrialized our society becomes, I think the more mentally unhealthy people become as they become more disconnected from nature. I think they are just like, it is driving people crazy. And also hating your ancestors and thus hating yourself is just not a healthy way to be. Like believing that you are part, we've taken a lot of the romance out of society. So believing you're part of some like grand narrative and that this is your moment in history and that your ancestors came before you to make this possible and that you have a responsibility to create the next generation to make things possible for them going forward and continue speaking. Believing you're part of some grand narrative, that is really motivating and really powerful. Humans grab onto narratives like that, believing you're the hero in your own family story. It's your chapter in the book, you know, so to speak. People really respond to that, and women respond to that well too. And by like just fucking sanitizing everything and scientizing everything and making everything therapy speak, we have just like ruined half of what makes life fun. You know? Yeah. And it's like, yeah, this is true. A lot of people are like pay pigs for their therapists, which is like crazy. Your therapist is doing the work of a priest and a friend. You should be more spiritual. You should be more religious, and you should have friends to tell this bullshit to. Yeah, it's just like, let's see. Yeah, it's like studies are finding some anxiety may be caused by inflammation somewhere in the nervous system, and maybe a third to a half feel better on anxiety drugs because it blocks both mast cell activation. That might be right. I don't fucking know, man. But yeah. Yeah, of course, there's no connection at all to being poked by pharmaceuticals and autoimmune inflammation issues. That's like 100%. Like there's stuff going on that we do not understand. I think we put a lot of faith in our medical institutions to have things figured out. And I think they have things figured out way less than we realize. Give me 1 second, gentlemen. I actually have to go deal with a dog related issue. I will be right back. You guys hang out. Talk amongst yourselves. All right, what's up, everybody? I'm back. Let's do let's see. I would tell you about my problems, but I'm afraid of ever doing it again. This is a safe space, Nate. This is a safe space, Nate. I created this space for men to be honest about their problems. Let's see. What else we got? Oh my God. So many of these. Oh man. And this is yeah, we're gonna do a couple more videos. This is women forgetting that they made flirting illegal. Go ahead.
Not desperate or pathetic to want to find a partner or someone to love, or there is that kind
I actually do agree with her. It is not desperate or pathetic to want to find a partner or someone to love. Go ahead.
of energy where it's like, look at me, I'm here on display and I'm waiting for you to claim me. And it's just like, ooh, I don't like that. Like, why can't we just be like cool first? Like, don't.
I wish we'd go back to when guys are just always walking up to you when you're out. Like,
yeah, I know this is like hard to listen to. Right, because you guys remember the whole Me Too movement where they basically made a witch hunt out of guys who flirted, and they, strung up guys and lit them on fire in the street because they flirted. We're like, oh, okay. Remember they had that Gillette razor commercial where they were like, hey, telling women they're hot is toxic masculinity. And we're like, oh, okay, say less. And then we stopped hitting on women. Remember that? You guys remember that? I remember that. And now they forgot that they did that. And they're like, why aren't men approaching us anymore?
could you imagine? Oh my gosh, if you're at the grocery store, at the gym, they're like, hi, I just couldn't help but say you're so beautiful. Like, I'd love to take you out sometime if you're single. If they were good looking, I'm like, can we go back to those times? But because society has more and more changed women to be the chasers or things like this, it's making.
Right. And remember, what she thinks the cause is that society has changed women to be the chasers. She literally does not remember the Me Too movement. It is too long ago for her to remember. She is not factoring that in. She does not remember when there was a worldwide witch hunt for men who flirt. She doesn't remember. And it's not going to impact her behavior going forward. Go ahead.
A lot of men be like, oh, I can just sit back. And I'm like, I hate that.
Right, men, I can just sit back. That's what men are thinking. Is that what you guys are thinking? Oh, I can just sit back and let pussy come to me. Is that what you guys are thinking? Chat, weigh in. Is that what you guys are thinking? I'm just going to sit back and let pussy come to me. I mean, that's I can do that. I choose not to. I choose to only get, because if you actually want a woman of quality, you have to, you have to actually put some work in. Yeah, not good. Not good. Anyway, but they literally don't remember. They literally don't remember, guys, what they did to fuck things up. And this is why, okay, one of the criticisms I get, I have to go here in a second. One of the criticisms I get the most on this show is that I always blame men for everything and I don't criticize women for their part in things. And this is what I'll say to that. The reason I don't criticize women or give advice to women is because women don't fucking listen. They're not going to listen anyway. There's no point in telling them what they're doing wrong because they're not going to listen. And also, women do not watch the show. My audience is 96% male. The 4% who is female who watches the show, they already get it. They watch the show because they agree with me on everything. I don't have shit to tell them. The 4%, shout out to the 4%, no notes. The women who watch the show, no notes. You guys are doing great. You guys are doing great. The only thing I'm going to give you is more of the male perspective so you have more ammunition to go out there and use in your relationships and your dating lives. But I talk to men because men actually fucking listen. If I give men advice, they will take it, internalize it, and apply it and report back to me in the chat of how it worked. Or they'll send me a DM and tell me how it worked. Women don't do that shit. They don't respond to feedback in the same way. Women just want things to work out. They don't want to have to do anything. So I say women don't have agency in the same way. And the women who watch the show are highly agentic. They're highly intelligent, highly agentic, have a lot of, it tends to be women who go against the grain a lot. So I'm not talking about you guys. You know, shout out green-haired anti-liberal. Obviously, she's like very atypical in her choices and her behavior. Shout out green-haired anti-liberal. But, you know, most women like don't have age. They just want things to go well. They view themselves as being acted upon. They don't view themselves as actors. Same way men kind of view themselves as actors. I want men to like go forth in the world as if they have a high degree of agency and that their choices matter and that they can kind of make things happen in their life the way that they want them to. I want them to think that way. And I want them to go out there, and women like men who think that way, who take decisive action, make a plan, execute the plan. Plan doesn't go well, change it up, execute again, blah, blah, blah. You know, keep trying to grow, keep trying to learn, keep trying to go out there. Men will take feedback and go out and apply it and then report back about how it went. Women will not do that. So that's why I don't criticize them as much. That's why I always tell men what they can do, what their role in it is. Not because I think you guys are necessarily more responsible, although I do think that, you know, that you have more responsibility. But you have more responsibility because you're the one who's capable of analyzing a situation and making adjustments, you know, and like being like, okay, this isn't going well. What can I do with this feedback I'm getting? How can I make changes to do better in the future? Adjust my strategy, go forward. Women aren't going to do that. They're just going to whine. So it's like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Like, I talk to women who aren't watching the show, tell them what they're doing. That may feel really good for you guys to hear, but that's not going to give you useful information to actually like make meaningful changes in your life. Like the girls who watch the show pretty much already no notes. Like you guys already agree with me on everything. So, you know, you guys already know what's going on. So it's like, I don't know, bring it up at the next woman meeting, I guess. But short of that, you know, whenever the estrogen lynch mob gets together, figure it out. Yeah. Let's see what else we got. Let's see. Yeah. One highly desirable man could keep 5 women pursuing at a time. They'd rather get cheated on than date that their looks match. That's true. That's true. That's the men they're dealing with are just sitting back. What they would have to do if they wanted to get treated well is date less attractive men. And that's the part they don't want to hear. But again, I can tell you guys that they're not going to hear that. Yeah, that's true. It's only 4.5% of men get swiped. And this is, we talk about this all the time, but like the dating apps and the Instagram are causing women to wildly overestimate their sexual market value because they can fuck guys that are hotter than the guys who will commit to them. And that makes them not want the guys who actually will commit to them. Remember, your actual dating pool as a woman is the men who treat you according to your treatment standards. That's your dating pool, not the guys you can fuck, you know. It wasn't always, but yeah, I have more liberal thoughts, but that was when I was all fresh and in college. Life taught me logic. Yeah, that's right. Life on my own taught me to listen to logic. I knew before, but didn't act on it until, adulthood. 90% of women are invisible. 90% of men are invisible to women. Get game over. That's true, but it's only really true on dating apps. Again, remember, charisma is still king in person. Like being funny, being interesting, being charming still works 90% of the time in person. I would say get rid of dating apps, get rid of Instagram, fucking forget about the online world, and don't date women who are terminally online. Then that's really hard because you're going to have to like filter through a lot of women before you find one who actually exists in reality. That's very hard. But if you do, you'll be good. All right, folks, I actually have to jet. This has been a lot of fun hanging out. Let's do another one of these on Friday. Yeah. Friday, 11 a.m. We're going to come through. I got a bunch more videos to get through. I actually didn't get to get through everything. So that's good. I had a lot more stuff to get through. And then I have a lot more stuff for the weekend show. So Touch Grass is going to be lit this Saturday. I might be interested. Mr. Scott, I'm trying to, I might have to probe more into this like anxiety inflammation connection. I hadn't heard about that until today. So this is why I say I have the best audience on the internet. Because every time the chat is always teaching me something or reminding me of like stats that are useful for what I want to talk about. Shout out to everybody. Shout out Watcher X. Shout out Mr. Scott. Shout out Green Hair Anti-Liberal. Shout out Strider. Shout out Vagabond. My regular chatters. You guys are badass. I appreciate you. Anyway, I actually have to go because I have like other bullshit I have to do. But this was fun. Please enjoy the intro to my other show as the outro to this show. Thank you very much.
Species is dying. The birth rate is plummeting. Women are chopped. But yeah, you know what? Get a fucking cat.